You know, when you think about the vast, wild landscapes of Arizona, there's a group of unsung heroes out there working to protect its treasures. This is their story, and it's a story of some serious passion, dedicated service, and a truly remarkable impact.
It's a huge question, isn't it? I mean, from the Sonoran Desert all the way to the Ponderosa pine forests, Arizona is just unbelievably diverse. So, what does it really take to protect all of that? To be a steward for the land, a teacher for the community, and a scientist for its wildlife? Well, the answer, it really comes down to a special group of people. To truly get a handle on their impact, we first have to look at what's at the heart of a naturalist, who they are, and what really drives them.
So, what exactly is an Arizona Master Naturalist? They're way more than just nature lovers. These are highly trained volunteers, and they really act as leaders who bridge that gap between their communities and the natural world. In fact, they're the backbone for over 100 partner organizations all across the state.
But it's not just about the work. It's about connection. This quote says it all. The program is where people find their people. It's a community that's built on a shared passion, lifelong friendships, and just a collective curiosity about the world around us.
Okay, think about this for a second. This is not your typical nonprofit. The entire organization, from the members on the ground all the way up to the executive director, is powered by volunteers. That's not just commitment. That's a whole movement.
So how does all this passion and expertise actually translate into action? Well, they channel it through a really clear, powerful framework, what they call the 3 pillars of service.
So their work really rests on these 3 pillars. First, there's education and outreach, leading nature walks, teaching in classrooms. Second is stewardship, which means they're out there getting their hands dirty with trail maintenance or habitat restoration. And finally, community science, where they basically become field researchers, collecting vital data that fuels real scientific discovery.
And let me tell you, this focused approach has really paid off. Let's take a look at their incredible decade of growth and see just how this whole thing unfolded.
It all started back in 2014, and the growth was fast. The first chapter launched just 2 years later, planting a really crucial seed. That seed just blossomed, and by 2020, their model was so successful, they were named National Program of the Year. By 2022, their expansion across the state was complete, which perfectly set the stage for their 10-year anniversary in 2024.
But all of that building momentum just culminated in 2025, a year that saw the highest levels of service and engagement in the association's entire history. Seriously, the numbers from this single year are just staggering. Check this out. In 2025 alone, members contributed 25,079 service hours. Just let that sink in for a second. Over 25,000 hours.
So what does a number that big actually mean? Well, think of it this way. It's like adding more than a dozen full-time conservation professionals to Arizona's workforce for a whole year. And remember, it's all powered by volunteers. The impact is just massive. And who's behind all this work? A dedicated force of 230 active members across the state. It's a relatively small group, making a huge, outsized difference. And they don't do this work in a vacuum, not at all. They're a force multiplier. In 2025, they partnered with 128 different organizations, from state parks to local nature centers, just amplifying their impact across every single corner of Arizona. And here's what that partnership actually looks like on the ground. The top partners got thousands of hours of expert support. The Highlands Center, for example, got a boost that was basically a full-time employee for a year, and Maricopa Parks wasn't far behind. This is tangible, game-changing support. Beyond the group totals, there are these incredible individual achievements. 13 members hit the 1,000-hour service milestone. And even more impressively, 2 members, General Firebrand and Lorianne Barnett Warren, reached the elite 2,500-hour service award. That is just an extraordinary level of dedication. So, after a decade of growth and a record-breaking year, you might think the association would be slowing down, right? Nope, they're looking ahead to what's next on the trail. And yeah, the future looks incredibly bright. The association is already getting ready to welcome 54 new interns for its 2026 cohort. This isn't just about maintaining momentum. It's about making sure that the legacy of stewardship just keeps growing stronger for years to come. The story of the Arizona Master Naturalists is just so inspiring. It shows what a dedicated community can really accomplish. And it leaves all of us with a pretty powerful question to think about. What is our role in stewarding the natural world that's all around us?